So on stage now we've got Alex Martin from Cambridge talking to us about adventures in English. Off you go.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello everyone, my name is Alex Martin from Cambridge Assessment English. Sorry, let me next the slide. Yeah. So yes, I'm from Cambridge Assessment English, and I'm the Senior Product Owner for Adventures in English with Cambridge, which is an award-winning English language learning game built in Minecraft. I have a background in developing qualifications and digital learning resources, but I also have a lifelong passion for video games. So, as you can imagine, I very much enjoyed the challenge of taking my two passions and smushing them together and bringing learning into gaming. The result is something really special that my team are incredibly proud of, and it's already being loved by hundreds of thousands of students and teachers around the world. So I'm really excited to show you what we got. But before I go on anymore, I want to show you a little example, a little video that showcases the world and the gameplay that learners will experience in Adventures in English with Cambridge. So I'm sure you'll agree that all looks very exciting and dramatic, and lots of dramatic music. But what is it for, and who is it for? So, as I said before, Adventures in English with Cambridge is an epic, story-driven adventure game that's designed for learners aged 8 to 11 and up. It supports both individual learners and delivery in classroom settings. All of the language learners experience in the game is carefully mapped to support young learners and aligns with Cambridge Young Learners exams. The gameplay and learning activities are combined to form a blended package of learning, so that includes both the gameplay and then it's all thematically linked to in-class activities, worksheets and homework. Okay, so how did we get here? If you can remember what's going on, how did we get here? You might think of Cambridge as a very traditional organisation, and in many ways you'd be right. We're attached to Cambridge University, we've been around for hundreds of years, and we've got a long heritage in learning and assessment. But as any key player in the EdTech space knows, the needs of learners is rapidly changing all of the time. One of the areas of interest for us is, of course, games-based learning, which has been emerging over the last few years. And of course, Minecraft has popped up on our radar many times over that period. And it presents a unique opportunity for us. So I'd just like to get a show of hands. How many of you have played Minecraft yourselves? Quite a few of you, of course. And also, those of you that might be teachers, how many of you have actually used it in class with students? Quite a few as well. So yes, Minecraft is quite the phenomenon. With currently over 141 million monthly active users. Every month, 141 million people playing the game. And I think that's down to many, many things, but one of the things I would say is that it has endless possibilities, endless worlds that you can create and explore, made by other fans and organisations like Cambridge Assessment. Even if you don't know that much about Minecraft, I think we can all agree that it's clear that it has a unique ability to engage people, and therefore it was an absolute no-brainer for us to explore making a language learning game in that environment. So I want to dig into the learning in the game a little bit. For those of you aware of the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, all of the language in Adventures in English is mapped to A1 on the CEFR, with some A2 language structures in there as well. Through puzzles, I'm doing that, I just realised it. Through puzzles and interactions during gameplay, learners will practice reading, listening, and spelling. There are other things that are more difficult to currently assess in the Minecraft environment, such as speaking and writing. These are all handled in the other part of this product, which is all through teacher resources and classroom activities, which I'll go into some detail on in a minute. But overall, as a complete package, this product covers all 5 language skills. In terms of total learning time, there are 5 hours of contact time with students, and that's all comprised of 3 gameplay lessons of around 30 minutes each, as well as classroom activities, each around 45 minutes. And I should point out at this point that this is just the first batch of content that we're producing. We're already working on the next. So at the moment we've got 5 hours, we intend to add a lot more in the future. So, a little bit on games-based learning. Games-based learning sometimes has a reputation as being like, bear with me on this one, chocolate-covered broccoli. You've probably seen this before, maybe not. You take something delicious and exciting like video games and chocolate, and you try to apply it to something that you might find less palatable, like broccoli, or learning a really hard new language. But more often than not, the result is something completely unpalatable. The combination doesn't work. Now, at Cambridge, of course, we know that learning itself can be fun and rewarding, and that video games are actually an ideal environment for teaching and motivating learners. So, just to quote one of my assessment designers on the team, it's all in the smushing. It's all about how you integrate the learning and the gameplay. So let's take a look now at how we've applied what research tells us about games-based learning to a video game. Research tells us that the following things are incredibly important when learning a new language: context, authenticity, motivation, mistakes, and autonomy. We've designed the game around these concepts in order to make the best use of the interactive environment that Minecraft has enabled us to build. I'm going to now demonstrate how these principles translate to effective learning with some examples from inside the game. The game provides an immersive, context-rich environment for learning to take place. Here you can see a couple of examples of spelling and vocabulary puzzles from within the game, all rooted in the context of gameplay. On the left you can see a locked gate, and the learner has to spell the word open in order to open it. And on the right hand side there is a bridge, and the learner needs to step on the correct letters in order to pass the bridge. In this second example, we have one of our in-game characters. Now, throughout the game, the player always has a mission and a specific task that they're trying to achieve. The conversations they have with characters in the game are always purposeful. So in this example, we can see Lilac, the fairy librarian, who's very bossy. She was demanded a hot drink, and you're trying to ingratiate yourself with her because she's trying to get you a job. So she sends you on a hunt for a vending machine to get a drink. When you get there are 6 options, but only one of them is hot. She wants a coffee. So you select the coffee and take it back to her. Now, all of this is like a fetch quest in a video game, very familiar. But actually, finding the right answer involves the same cognitive process as it would in an exam. Little do the students know it. Each episode features an overarching story, memorable locations and characters, and the reason this is really important in a language learning game is that children under the age of 12 learn languages using their episodic memory. So personal experiences and stories are really helpful and memorable for them. I should also mention at this point that all of the characters in the game are fully voice acted, so when they are talking to characters, they're also practicing their reading and listening at the same time. So, back to that previous example with Lilac, you can bring her the wrong drink, there's nothing wrong with that. If you do, she'll give you another token and send you on your merry way to go and get another one until you get it right. She's not satisfied until she gets her coffee, like I think we can all understand. So, unlike in an exam, students have the freedom to fail and try again. And this aligns with the principle that errors are actually learning opportunities in themselves. Getting it wrong and trying again builds resilience and perseverance, which is a feature of many video games, but also absolutely vital for language learning. It's hard. In this final example from the game, learners are trying to navigate their way through a forest, a dense forest, like a maze. And at each crossroad, a helpful little bird audibly chirps out directions. Now, there's no text in the game at this point. This is actually a listening exercise. Learners can do what she says, and they'll get out faster, they might earn a reward for doing it quickly, but they can also, they're free to explore the forest as they like. And if they do, they might discover optional puzzles and side quests, and maybe some rewards for their curiosity, like this Dormy coin in an underground cavern. So, the way this works is it gives the learner agency to do what they want when they want to a certain degree. But when learning does take place, it feels personal and earned. So, I've talked through a lot about the gameplay, and that all looks great, I'm sure. I hope. But you might be thinking, how do I actually deliver this in a classroom? That's the challenge. How do I do this with my students in the context of my school? The teacher pack, which accompanies the game, is designed to answer any questions you may have. It features a full walkthrough of the gameplay, as well as lesson plans, worksheets, and assets to create your own activities. And at the back there are vocab structures lists, so you know what language is being covered in the game. Now, I'm not expecting you to read this tiny text, but this is just I'm going to flip through a couple of pages of the teacher pack, and you have, as an example, warm-up activities, discussion through the gameplay. Following that would be 3 or 4 in-class activities for the students to do. Here's an example of the walkthrough. You get nice visual screenshots of each section, so you kind of know what to expect the students are going to experience before they do. You can prepare. And also highlighted throughout are all of the bits of language that they're going to experience. Worksheets can be completed during or after the gameplay. And we are providing assets from the game, so you can design your own activities, like using these flashcards from characters and objects from within the game. We're also working on some digital resources, which include videos, or full videos of the gameplay itself, so you can get really prepared to see what the learners are going to experience. But it also allows you to drill down to the delivery method that's going to work for you in your setting and your scenario. And on that, we've designed the whole experience to be able to deliver it in a variety of ways and work in a variety of settings. Students can play at home or in class, and it can work with any kind of sort of technology setup you have at your centre. So, for example, the gameplay could all take place at home as homework, and then following that, the next day or the next week, you can have activities in class that relate to what they've experienced in the gameplay. Or, of course, you could just flip that, do a warm-up activity in class, and set the game as homework. I mean, what teacher doesn't want to set video games as homework, right? Of course, you can do all of the teaching in class, gameplay and the activities, and that's very dependent on the technology you have, as well as the outcomes you want to achieve. So, you may have one device per student, or as in this example, they seem to have like 2 or 3 devices. I'm not sure why that's even important. You may have fewer devices, so you might want to put them in groups and they can play in pairs or in groups of 2 or 3. And you might only have one screen in the front of the class, and you can focus their attention by having one student potentially playing through while others watch and probably shout out what to do next, and preferably in English. So here you can see some examples of different arrangements for the gameplay sessions. We've been piloting Adventures in English with Cambridge, with large institutions across the world. So far we've been piloting in China, Turkey and Japan, but we're looking to roll out more pilots over the next few months. So I've just picked out a couple of comments from the overwhelmingly positive response we've had from teachers and students who filled out a survey after they'd experienced the product. So for some students, it's a wonderful way to learn English. I love all the story and experience. So our writers have done a really good job there. We've really hooked them into the story. And believe me when I say I need a part 2 of this. And from teachers, this was such a great world. I especially loved the cliffhanger which you leave the learners with. We would like to have lessons for flyers and key for schools. And that's something we're really hearing loud and clear, that although we've set all the language at A1 and a bit of A2 at this point, people want to see it at other higher and lower language levels too. And we're planning to support that in the next version. So yes, an overwhelmingly positive response. We've had over 200,000 unique players, 200,000 learners that is, since it launched last May. And it was #1 as the most popular Minecraft map on Education Edition. And it gets a consistently high rating from all users. It's currently at 4.5 stars. And then we went on to win the Gold Award for Innovation at the Reimagine Education Awards. So it's now an award-winning game too. So you can imagine we're very proud. So yeah, it's not just available on Education Edition. We have also now since launched it on the consumer version of Minecraft, just this January, and it is the first example of paid educational content on the platform. In terms of the audience, we see that the Education Edition version is really for schools, and to differentiate, the schools version it includes all of those support materials that I talked you through earlier, whereas the consumer edition is really designed for individual learners who just want to practice English or enjoy the world we've created, and it's gameplay only. In terms of pricing, if you've already got a Minecraft Education Edition license, which is $5 per user per year for schools, you've already got access to it. So Adventures in English is available in the library already. And in terms of the consumer version, it's purchasable for $4.99 US, which is 839 pounds. So, as you probably already know, Minecraft Education Edition is available on Windows, Mac, and iPad, but also Chromebook. And the consumer version is available on those, plus iPhone, and most home consoles and Android. In terms of support for these products, or it's really one product, Microsoft, of course, will be on hand to deal with any issues to do with transactions, accounts, and the game client itself. Whereas Cambridge, we will be able to support on anything to do with the world specifically, as well as questions about delivering the content in a classroom. So, as I said earlier, we're planning more content right now. We're in storyboard mode. We're planning to add new adventures, more locations, more stories, puzzles, characters. But we really need you to help us shape it. So we've already piloted around the world in a lot of places, and a lot of learners have tried Adventures in English with Cambridge. But we're really looking to pilot it in more schools around the world. And we've got more content coming up, so it's the perfect time. So yeah, I encourage you to try English Adventures with your learners right now. So I've got these cards, and you can scan this QR code or email me, and we can set you up for a pilot at your centre or your school. My colleagues and I will be present throughout the event over on the Minecraft stand, back over there, looking really cool. So please come and talk to us if you have any questions, or if you're interested in piloting it with your students. Or come and just grab a card from me afterwards. So I don't think we've got time, after what happened earlier, I don't think we have time for questions, but I do have actually a 2-minute video, so I might overrun. So I'm going to play a last little bit of a video which re-encapsulates some of the learning that takes place in the game. Learning a foreign language isn't just about studying grammar and memorizing new words. More than anything, it's about our ability to communicate and interact with others.
Yet many young language learners around the world don't have an opportunity to practice their skills in a real lifelike environment.
It's terrible.
Adventures in English with Cambridge solves this problem by immersing young learners in a Minecraft world full of exciting opportunities to communicate and solve puzzles using English.
Go and look around.
Harnessing the hugely popular and engaging world of Minecraft for language learning results in authentic, narrative-driven language practice, which engages imagination, curiosity, and episodic memory.
It works by seamlessly integrating world-class teaching approaches with immersive gameplay. We have been careful not to replicate standard classroom activities in a virtual space, nor to lean heavily into pure gameplay. Instead, the adventure is interwoven with opportunities to practice English in a multitude of ways.
Every communicative opportunity is joined up to form an engaging and memorable narrative. The learner is placed at the heart of the main event and is motivated to explore, discover, fail, try again, and complete the story.
It's carefully written around the language curriculum for young learners and fully integrates it into the game.
We've had a wonderful response from learners and teachers. Since the global pilot released in May 2021, we reached 100,000 learners in just 4 weeks. Adventures in English with Cambridge has been played by 175,000 users to date, with over 300,000 learners returning to play again.
Teachers report higher participation rates and new positive behaviors as the learners actively collaborate and communicate with each other in English.
Integrating English language immersion with the engaging world of Minecraft makes perfect sense to us, and we're delighted to see that our learners and their educators see it the same way.
Brilliant, thank you. That's absolutely fascinating. Give it back to you. Applause. Fantastic products. Great to see.